Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this rainbow glitter custom tumbler with gold vinyl offset. I love rainbows because they can mean so many things and have significance to so many people. On top of it, they are absolutely beautiful and can always be a beacon of hope for all who see them. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. For this design, I am using a 30-ounce straight skinny from Parish Tumblers. I fully prepped and sanded my cup. And here is the first time that I am actually moving away from spray paints. So there's a couple of reasons why I chose to do this. First, there's such scarce supply of spray paint at the moment. Second, here in St. Louis, the weather is not conducive to go outside and spray paint. And then third, I always feel like I got drips or inconsistent coverage. And then last but not least, I don't have to wait for, or I just get tired of waiting for the paint to degas so that I don't have repelling when I move into epoxy. So I gave Miss Lillian's No X chalk paint a try, and here I am using Robin's Egg Blue, and I am absolutely obsessed with this paint. It dries so fast, the colors are so vibrant, and I love the coverage that I'm gonna have a hard time going back to spray paints. So I am just applying a nice coat over the entire surface of my tumbler. Then you can just grab your heat gun if you want. This is totally optional. Dry that first coat of paint and immediately move into a second coat. Now, you do not have to use your heat gun, but the paint dries on its own without the heat gun in about 10 minutes. This just reduces it to, I think, like 1 or 2 minutes, just because I'm super impatient. But then you just immediately move into the second coat of paint, and you can see that I just get flawless coverage. And again, I am just using a cheapo makeup brush. You can get them anywhere. And I absolutely love this color. One thing I will say though is that this paint dries so quickly that I do not recommend it for glitter application. I will show you that I did use it in this tutorial, but I ended up doing a second layer of Whimsey from Boujie Glitter Boutique. I love this light blue. And then I did move into 2 coats of epoxy to get a smooth surface before moving on. But yeah, don't try and use the paint for glitter application. I would recommend either doing the epoxy method, or if you absolutely have to, Mod Podge. But the color is amazing, and I highly recommend this paint. I did do the epoxy method over this just to give excellent glitter coverage. Then I moved into 2 coats of Artistry's Fast Set 1:1 thick viscosity epoxy, and then I did any sanding that I needed to, both at the top and bottom, to remove any pokey bits. Once all the sanding was complete, I just grabbed my flat double-sided tape. Again, this is from Amazon, so I will link it in the description below. But I just made kind of a semi-swirl, I guess you could say, on the cup, and just made sure that it was nicely adhered and flat without any bubbles, because if you have bubbles, you run the potential of it being seen in this design. But I just butt up the pieces of tape right next to each other, and I lay out all 7 of the stripes that we will need for our complete rainbow. One thing I will call out though is, like, you can't see it here at the top, but at the bottom, I am ending the tape about a 1/2 inch from the most bottom rim. And the reason why I'm doing this is because we will be putting vinyl over these ends, so they don't need to be perfect, but we also don't want the colors popping through underneath the vinyl. So I'm cutting the strips just a little bit shorter than you would traditionally do, so that we can hide them nicely when it comes to the cloud design that we will be adding to this cup. And once I have all of the strips applied the way I liked them, and they're pressed down nice and firmly, which I would highly recommend pressing them down so that they're nice and flat, I do go through just as like a double check, or I guess a check box, and label what each color will be for the double-sided tape. Now, this first glitter is Purple People Eater from Boujie Glitter Boutique, and you can just see how absolutely beautiful this purple is. So this is like a truest purple, and what what I'm doing is I'm applying it to the double-sided tape. And at first I was kind of rubbing down the glitter, but I actually found that I get better coverage if I were to pat it. So just like pat it with the pad of my finger. And then I come in with my fan brush and just remove any of the excess. Now, this is extremely important to remove as much of the excess as possible because you don't want contamination across your colors. Once the first purple was done, I move in with Blurple, which is very fitting because it's the indigo color of our rainbow. And this was just the perfect blue purple that we needed for these colors. Again, the Blurple is from Boujie Glitter Boutique. I absolutely love it, and it just makes I can't say enough, like it was just wonderful for our rainbow color scheme for this design. And here you can see that I'm starting to pat down the glitter because it does give me better coverage, and then removing any of the excess. And I really feel like this works well. I did end up switching to a chip brush halfway through because this fan brush just wasn't cutting it, like you see here, and it worked a lot better. But I feel like the fan brush was gentler for brushing off the excess over the previous glitter colors. Now it's time for our blue, and this is Cornflower Blue, again from Boujie Glitter Boutique, and I just love this color. I've used it on a couple of cups, and it's just so vibrant. It's a really great metallic blue glitter, so it doesn't need a background. It just really stands out on its own, and I thought this was perfect for our rainbow. So I just added it in, just blotting the glitter down, and then just removing the excess so we don't contaminate our colors. Now, one thing I will say, and I did this with the blue, but you're going to see I'm going to move into the other colors. You want to start with your darker colors first. So here you would typically go into, well, this is green. So this is Shamrock, again, from Boujie Glitter Boutique. And this is my green, but I'm going to skip the yellow and the orange to go into red. So here the green is fine because it's just as dark as the other previous colors, but you don't want to lead with your light colors first because you will get the most contamination. So again, this is Shamrock from Boujie Glitter Boutique. Pat it down and remove any of the excess before moving into the next layers. Next, moving into, again, my darkest color, I'm going to remove the red stripe, and this is Fire from Boujie Glitter Boutique. My jar is just an OG from when it was called Sunshine Creative Designs, but this is still Fire, same exact glitter color, and I'm just applying it over the double-sided tape, patting it down, and making sure that I have awesome coverage. Now, I will tell you, anytime I use red glitter, it likes to take over and it just appears in places that it shouldn't. So just spend some extra time just making sure to remove any excess. I feel like I didn't, and I had some contamination that I had to end up covering at the end of my tumbler, but just be careful with the red. It's sneaky and takes over. Then it was time for orange, and I am using Boujie Pumpkin from Boujie Glitter Boutique. This orange, I feel like orange is a really underrated color in the glitter world, but it's just so beautiful. Again, this is a metallic glitter. I want to say that all of the glitters except for maybe the yellow that will be coming up in just a second are metallic glitters, but they just have such an amazing sparkle. They have excellent coverage and really are able to stand on their own. But I love this color. Highly recommend it if you need a good like fall orange or even spring orange. I feel like this is the truest orange. I feel like I've said that word a lot, from Boujie Glitter Boutique, and it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Then last and certainly not least is the yellow section of our rainbow. For this color, I am using Sunshine Yellow from Boujie Glitter Boutique. And I love this yellow. It's just so cheerful and sunny, which fits our rainbow theme. But I just come in, again, patting it down. And you really, really, really want to do your I can't talk. I'm sorry, guys. You want to do your yellow last because it is the lightest color and it will show the most glitter contamination of any of the other colors. So before you add your yellow, make sure that you give all the other glitter colors a nice dusting with either the chip brush or the fan brush to get any of the excess off, because you do not want your yellow looking like it's all sorts of diseased. I sealed the rainbow with clear gloss 2X spray paint from Rust-Oleum, and then I moved into a coat of 20 milliliters of Artistry's 1-to-1 Fast Set, and I let this dry for about 2 hours before I moved into the next steps. Now, One thing I want to call out, first off, did you catch that this epoxy dries in 2 hours, which I'm so excited about. But one thing I do want to mention here is when I show you the vinyl work, I did it right after this step right here, but I actually decided that I didn't think that the rainbow was vibrant enough. So I removed the vinyl and then I came back and I will show you how I went over the rainbow stripes to make sure that they were nice and vibrant and really popped instead of more of these muted tones, which we are going to show right here. So after I removed all of the vinyl from the cup that I had laid down, I came in with a 1/4 inch masking tape. This is the same thing as painter's tape. It's just a cheaper kind of off brand. But what I'm doing is I'm laying down the lines around the stripes that we created with the double-sided tape. Now, you could absolutely come in with another piece of double-sided tape and do the process that I just showed you over again. I was just worried that I wouldn't get the coverage that I wanted, so I came in with this method. And also, one thing I want to call out is that I'm making sure to do the lines of my darkest glitter colors first, again, because we do not want contamination when we move into our lighter colors. So here, the first colors I am doing are the red, which was Fire from Boujie Glitter Boutique, Shamrock, and also Purple People Eater. And I am just taking Mod Podge with about a 1/4 inch brush, which is perfect size for this. And I am just applying a thin layer of Mod Podge over the stripe and glittering that section to get awesome coverage. I think that this extra step made all the difference in the world and really allowed my rainbow to pop. So I highly recommend doing the second coat. But again, you can do it with Mod Podge or you can do it with double-sided tape. And also, once you apply your glitters, make sure that you get all of the stray and excess glitter off before moving to your next color to avoid as much cross-contamination as possible. So here again, I'm just applying a thin layer of Mod Podge, and this brush made it so easy to do this quickly because Mod Podge dries so freaking fast that a lot of times you have to come in with multiple layers of Mod Podge to get the coverage. But using the right brush that was the right size and just making sure that you have your lines laid out really made this go quickly. So I recommend doing it that way and using that size brush if you have it available. Then I just made sure that all the excess glitter was removed, did the Shamrock color, and then I immediately pulled the tape. I do not wait for the Mod Podge to dry because I've had experiences when I did that in the past that if I waited, then the Mod Podge would pull up with the tape and then you get all kinds of wonkiness in your glitter that you just applied. So as soon as it's applied, I pull the tape and then I also come in with a chip brush to make sure to get any excess off the cup because again, you do not want that cross contamination, and because you have the risk of the Mod Podge still being wet, you don't want it to get over into your other colors when you are pulling the tape. I let that dry for about 2 to 3 hours and then I spray sealed it with Rust-Oleum gloss spray paint. And here I'm showing you kind of how big of a pain in the ass it is if you do not want to use masking tape. I just wanted to demonstrate that it can be done. I just don't think it works as well as if you were to use the masking tape, but it can be done. So I am just freehanding the Blurple color that's here, or the indigo color of our rainbow, and I'm just butting it up right against the purple glitter that we had just laid down. Now, because we did seal this purple glitter and the green glitter on both sides of this, which we do have a blue right next to it, you can put masking tape over it. So you can see right here that that's what I did. And you don't have to worry about the masking tape pulling up because your glitter is sealed, so it's not going to move. You might have a little come up, but it's not a big deal. But also here, I'm showing you how you can also only tape off one side to get the straight lines, but just demonstrating all of your options. My favorite is still masking off both sides of the glitter because you get that those nice crisp lines, but do literally whatever floats your boat. And again, make sure that you are doing your darkest glitter colors first. I did not, I messed up and I did my orange before I did my Cornflower Blue that you see here. It wasn't too big of an issue because they're kind of further apart from each other, but use your darker colors first. Just trust me, it'll come out better in the end. And finally, I came in with the Sunshine Yellow and just free-handed that last stripe because it was just easier at the time, but you can mask off both sides or do whatever you find is most comfortable for you. I let this dry again for about 3 hours, then I spray sealed it twice with Rust-Oleum 2X gloss spray paint, went into 2 coats of epoxy, and then I am sanding the cup to make sure that it is nice and smooth before we apply our vinyl. Now, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that this didn't happen, but my cup wasn't completely level on the turner, so it got kind of a fatty ring around the bottom. So I am spending some time trying to get that off, and my orbital took it right off. It got it nice and smooth, but I am just making sure to get that fat ring off the bottom. Make sure that your cups are level when you put epoxy on them. But I am just also taking my time to make sure that I have a nice smooth surface, because when you come in to apply your vinyl, if you do not, it will show. If you have any divots, if you have any like rough spots, you'll see it all because white vinyl is not that forgiving. So highly recommend that you sand your cup first. Now, I did use my flap wheel earlier on in this cup right after we applied the Whimsey glitter. I just didn't video it because I'm sure you guys are sick of me using my flap wheel. But since this cup does have so many layers of epoxy on it, I did come in and just expose again another like just sliver of stainless steel at the top of my cup so that our final layers of epoxy could adhere. I really like to do this because it's an amazing finishing touch, but it also ensures the longevity of your cup. And then after I was done with the flap wheel, I grabbed my 80 grit sanding block and just smoothed out the ridge that can sometimes appear with the flap wheel. And then it was time to apply my clouds. Now, I applied the vinyl this time a little bit differently than I typically do. So I taped first off, I wrapped the vinyl around the top of the cup, taped both the ends, and then I also applied a piece of masking tape at the middle of the cup that you see right there. Then I pull off one end of the vinyl, lift it up, cut off the backing, and then use my squeegee to apply it as straight as possible around the top of the cup. I also make sure to take my time and push down the vinyl so that it's nice and adhered and that you don't have any bubbles, because they will appear around like through the white vinyl. Then once that's done, I remove that center piece of tape and move it back over to the left side of it, peel up that other end, and do the exact same thing that I did before. The reason why I do it this way is because this is allowing it to go as straight around the top of the cup as possible. And I've found that when I did it previously by just applying one end and then working my way over around the top of the cup, it just got all wonky, but this ensured that it stayed as straight as possible when applying the vinyl to the cup. Once I have all of the clouds laid down, I came in with the gold offset, and the way that this SVG is cut is that the gold lays right up against the white vinyl that we laid down, not over the top like the traditional files that I designed, but I thought that this made it easier. So I am just taking the gold and laying it on the side outline of the clouds, and then it was time to offset our pretty rainbow. P.S. You are going to want to follow the same steps that I showed you for applying the clouds at the top, on the bottom, but it's the exact same steps, just in, I guess, upside down. But for the rainbow outlines, I cut my strips at 0.062 or a 1/16 of an inch, if you must know, wide and 11 inches long, to really make sure that I had enough vinyl to work with for the offsets. But I just laid down the strips and went along the outside of the clouds to make sure that it was as seamless as possible, and just went throughout all the different colors. Once that was done, I did not seal this vinyl because I used Oracal 651, so it adheres really well on the cup. It does not typically need any sealing because we're not using holographic or metallic vinyl. And I applied 30 milliliters of Artistry's 1-to-1 fast set to this cup. I love this stuff. It can be used on the final layers of epoxy because it has amazing UV resistance, and it dries in 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So I highly, highly recommend it. But one thing I decided to do is I thought that the clouds needed a little bit of sparkle. It was just too flat for me. So I grabbed Boujie Glitter Boutique's Wonder, which if you do not have this glitter, please run and go get it. but I just sprinkled a little bit of the glitter in the clouds, and it just added that little bit of detail that I really think set this cup up for success. Not that cups need to be successful or not, but I think it was a really great little bit of sparkle that really added to the clouds. After I let this dry for about 2 hours, it only needed one final coat, and I used Artistry's regular Artist Epoxy, and I let that dry, and this baby was done. And here it is. I am blown away with how this cup turned out. I think the glitter colors and the vinyl work all come together to make something truly beautiful and meaningful to so many. I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about any of the steps or information I shared, please feel free to reach out and I will be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really, really means a lot to me. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You could also ring the bell so that you are notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.